something.
I will destroy them all.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of The Coordinate, an Attack on Titan podcast. I'm Tyler, and today I'm going to be giving you my thoughts on episode 70, Deceiver. But before that, I just need to address something. Hey Bill, you listening? I know you're listening, Bill. And I just need to tell you that I'm not sexually attracted to Eren Yeager. He's a cartoon, and I'm not into him. Like, it's I know you think I am, but I'm just speaking for the community as a whole. Like, I've spent a lot of time on Reddit and Twitter, like, looking at Attack on Titan things, and everyone there is just like, oh my god, Eren's so sexy, like, with his, like, long hair and stuff. So I just wanted to know how you felt about it. So it's not me, it's you. And yeah, just to prove that, I'm gonna go over to Reddit right now, and I'm just gonna type in, like, Eren sexy and read you a couple of, like, whatever things come up. So I'm going to go over to the Shingeki no Kyojin Reddit, and we're just going to see what comes up. Okay, so yeah, we're here. Let's see, the first one says, Sexy Boy Eren fan art by me. And it's a picture of Eren. It's, like, almost exactly copied from the manga, but colored, so that's nice. Next, we've got, sorry if this seems a little out of nowhere and random, but Season 4 Titan Eren looks sexy as hell. Can't wait to see more of him. And is that Bill? Bill, did you make this post? Because you were really into that Attack Titan. I know you thought he was pretty beefy. So then we've got, damn it, you sexy older looking version of Eren. And those are just, like, actual posts. Those aren't, like, comments. That's where I usually see it. It's, like, the comments underneath, like, the post when you're waiting for the manga to come out. And that's also just from searching sexy Eren. They're often more explicit than that. So, like, if I put in something, you know, like, Eren looks like he's ready to fuck, I might get, like, some, you know, some other things. Anywho, just wanted to clear the air on that, like, at the top of the episode before we get into episode 70. And, like, you know, Bill, Levi's my guy. Like, he's the short dude, and I loved it in the last episode, seeing how much everyone else has grown, and Levi was already, like, 30 or, like, late 20s or something, so, like, he's just, it's apparent how short he is now, and I thought that was great. It's a good scene. But going back to sexy Eren for a second, thing is, you still might come around, Bill, because you haven't seen the scene that, like, really makes people just, like, lose their mind. Like, assuming they adapt it, like, 1 for 1, we should be seeing it in, like, 2-3 episodes. You'll know it when you see it. Anyways, enough of that. Let's actually talk about the episode a bit. So it starts out with Gabi brutally murdering the only prison guard in all of Paradise with a brick and a pillowcase. Classic Gabi. I said Paradise. I usually say Paradise. I'm going to stick with Paradise. It seems weird to me that there seems to be, like, only one guard in that whole building, but I guess to be fair, you know, Paradise probably hasn't had too many prisoners over the years, and, you know, they're just kids. So, like, they probably were like, all right, we'll put this one guard here to watch the kids, and we'll send every other guard we have over to wherever they're keeping Eren. So then Gabi has to explain to Falco why they had to escape in the first place, and I get the feeling that we're supposed to side with Falco here and be like, you know, the guard was just like a normal dude and he didn't deserve to die, but, I mean, they were prisoners, and escaping does seem like a good thing from their perspective. I mean, I don't know where they're escaping to. They're on an island, so can't really walk home, and, you know, there is a port, but they have, like, one trading partner, and I don't think they want to go to, like, the equivalent of Japan. I don't think that's going to help them much. So next we see Reiner waking up from a nightmare with Porco and Peak in the room yet again. Like, this same thing just happened a few episodes when he was having, like, the nightmare of getting chopped up by Mikasa. And Porco is just a creep, like, watching Reiner sleep. He's a weird dude. Not going to say anything rude about Peak because I like her. She seems very nice. The first thing Reiner says when he wakes up is that he heard Gabi and Falco's voices. And at first I thought this was implying that Reiner was like having like a prophetic dream about Gabi and Falco escaping from the prison. And I was going through like all kinds of mental gymnastics trying to work out like how does that make sense? Like I don't remember Reiner being able to do that. Like are they adding things in the anime adaptation? But then I realized that he was just referring to when he was like, you know, like depressed and passed out and like not willing to fight Eren. Falco and Gabi were like yelling at him to fight. And yeah, that's what he was talking about. So yeah, nothing fishy there. And that is the last we see of those guys until like post credits. The rest of the episode is sort of split between like Gabi and Falco's adventures. And then Hanji struggling with like the weight of being the commander of the scout regime. And we also get like some other military stuff happening. But let's stick with Gabi and Falco for now. So they run off into the forest, and I am amazed at how this forest looks at this scene. It might be one of the most beautiful images we've seen in Attack on Titan. I just love like how colorful everything is. The river has this nice like flowing effect, and it looks better than what we saw at the end of season 3 when they get to the ocean. Looked a lot better than that to me. And so we're near Sasha's home here, so we should have seen this area before, but I don't remember seeing anything that looked pleasant in any of the previous seasons of Attack on Titan. I mean, last time we saw this area, Sasha was like running from a Titan and stuff, so it was like very action-y, so maybe we just didn't have the time to appreciate it, but I feel like it probably didn't look like this before. So Gabi and Falco get into an argument because she refuses to remove her Eldian armband because she wants to be a good little Eldian, and Falco is concerned that, you know, someone's going to see that and realize who they are. But Gabi doesn't care because she doesn't plan to make it off the island alive. She wants to know why Zeke betrayed them, and then what happens from there. I don't think she cares. Like, she probably wants to try to take Zeke out and, you know, take down as many devils as she can in the process. But Falco has a little more will to live, and, you know, he wants to save Gabi. So he rips off that armband, and Gabi just kicks his ass a little bit. All of the commotion gets the attention of Kaya, who is passing by, and that's the girl Sasha saved from the Titans back in season 2. And, you know, we saw her 2 episodes ago, I think, at like Sasha's grave. And she offers to take them to her home for a meal. Meanwhile, we see Gabi clutching a rock behind her back, just like ready to go killing again. And we see Falco like looking at her like, don't do this. Like, please don't, like, but that little girl is ruthless. So Kaya takes them back to her place, which is sort of an orphanage. It's a stable ran by Sasha's dad and mom, where they raise horses for the military, and, you know, the orphans help with the raising. The orphans get, like, shelter and food, and they are presumably loved a little bit or something? I don't know. Like, maybe it's just, like, Kaya they treat like a daughter, and the rest are, like, employees? Not really sure how that works out. I mean, there's a couple of them eating breakfast with them, so they probably treat them all like pretty good. So Falco lies and says that his name is Ben and Gabi is his little sister Mia, and that they ran away from their home for like some reason and want a safe place to stay for a couple of days. Sasha's dad is all southern and charming and just seems like a real nice bloke. Everyone is saying y'all and drinking iced tea and spitting chew, you know, like they really southern it up. I'm from Georgia. I get all these stereotypes, even though, you know, they're not in the American South, but they seem to be. Anyways, everyone's being super nice, and I think seeing the devils be so kind and welcoming like really breaks Gabi, because Sasha's mom gives her like I think it's her mom. It could be her grandma. She looks older, but I think it's her mom. She like gives Gabi like I don't know, like pats her on the head or something, you know, just doing things that old people do to kids, like a nice gentle caress to like comfort her. And Gabi just like slaps the shit out of her hand. And Falco just looks like panicked, and like the room goes silent and there's like gasp and stuff. But then they handle it pretty good. I mean, they ran away from home. I think they just assumed she was like an abused child. And so, yeah, you know, which is, you know, pretty reasonable response. Especially they deal with orphans. I'm sure they've seen they've all been traumatized because all their parents got eaten. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe ask before touching strange kids again, though, Bill. So next we have the great scene where Gabi gets bit on the head by a horse. Then she slips and like a bucket just like ricochets all over the place and like lands on her head. And my favorite part of this is Falco's scream. He's just like, Gabi!
Gabi! Gabi! Gabi!
She looks so defeated in that moment, and I know she like blames this on like the devils. Like she's like, why is this happening to me? All these devils must be the devil. And this is probably a really great scene if you hate Gabi. Yeah, I'm sure this is a great moment for you, like seeing her at her lowest. But I personally like Gabi as a character a lot. She's a super brainwashed kid, and I think this might be like the low point of her life. She needed to, she needed to hit this point to grow as a person and see that, there aren't just these like evil people, like they're just people. That said, 5 seconds later, she's yelling at poor Kaya over there about how she needs to accept her sins as an Eldian that she's just like born with. And then she tries to kill her with a pitchfork when Kaya reveals that she knows they are from Marley. Yeah, it's baby steps. So then Kaya tells them about her mother's death, and I think she actually shows them where her mother died, like the village she was from. And she tells them about how Sasha saved her, doesn't use her name. Not that, I don't know that Gabi and Falco know her name. They might, because everyone's like, why did you kill Sasha, probably. And basically this scene really reminds me of the conversation Eren and Reiner had, a few episodes back in Marley. So like Eren and Kaya are both asking like, why did my mother have to die? What was the point? And the big difference here is that, Reiner was just all about like, he was like, I wanted to get glory, but like Falco gives kind of like, I don't know, more of the real reason maybe. It's, that her mom did nothing wrong, but it was like a scouting mission for Marley. The other big difference is that Kaya doesn't turn into a Titan and go off on a murdering rampage. So you're probably used to hearing cat noises in my background, but if you hear things today, not actually cats, it's ferrets. I'm in a room with ferrets recording a podcast. Anyway, so instead of going on a murdering rampage, Kaya actually tells them that her family got invited to a fancy restaurant where Marleyan works, who might be able to help them find their way home. And this is where things get real awkward, as if it wasn't awkward before, because Gabi killed Sasha, who saved Kaya and is now staying with her family. So yeah, we know Niccolo works at the restaurant. He had a thing for Sasha. Gabi killed Sasha. Also, if they go, they'll be going with Sasha's family, and none of this would really matter that much, except for the fact that we've seen high-ranking military officials frequent the restaurant who will definitely recognize Falco and Gabi as escaped prisoners from Marley. So yeah, it's going to be potentially a bad time for them, and I look forward to seeing it. So let's go back and talk about the military stuff. So there's civil unrest in the city, in all of the cities behind the walls, presumably, because a group of Survey Corps members, including Floch, that bastard, the redheaded bastard, he leaked information about Eren being held captive by the military following their successful mission in Marley. To really drive home how conflicted Hanji is about this, we see a familiar face in the crowd. And I don't remember his name, but he's the merchant guy's son who, in the first season, we see the merchant, he's like holding up everything in Shiganshina, trying to like blocking people from escaping. Actually, no, that's in Trost. In the first season, he's blocking people's escape from leaving Trost because of his merchandise, and Mikasa chops down a Titan in front of it and then like threatens him like he's next. So yeah, we see that guy's son who helped out in season 3. He did something. I don't really remember what he did. He helped out the scouts, I think, when they were fighting the military police or something. I don't remember. But anyways, he's friends with Hanji, and that's all we need to know, because like seeing him be like upset, about the situation drives home that, like, there's a person we know that's upset. Like, maybe we should be upset too. So Haji decides that people who leak the information about Eren must stand trial for disobeying orders, which, pretty reasonable. She's in a leadership position, secret information, kind of ruined whatever strategy they had going. A few months later, we see Mikasa down in the cells with one of the people that leaked the information. It's actually that moment I was talking about in Trost from the first season, where Mikasa took down that Titan and the merchant guy had like things blocked up with all of his like merchandise. There was apparently a little girl in the crowd named Louise who saw that happen, and that encouraged her to join the Scouts when she grew up. And, it's kind of cool to see how our main characters have inspired like the next generation of Scouts, but also it's kind of sad because it's only been a few short years since these events happened. So, these people are crazy young, and we're probably going to see most of them die because that's how things go in this show. Like, they introduce people, they die. But like down there in the cells, Mikasa gets one of those headaches when Luis mentions something about Eren. Like, is that why she joined the Survey Corps? So she's like having all these like flashes of like Eren saving her from with his knife broom back in the day when she got kidnapped when she was a kid. Yeah. And I wonder if we'll ever get like a full-blown explanation for those headaches. We haven't to this point that I'm aware of. So the final bit of military stuff is Dot Pixis talking to Yolana about how she conspired with Floch, Zeke, and Eren to plan the attack on Marley. Or at the very least, she encouraged Eren to start doing his own thing independent of the rest of Paradise's military. I gotta pick one of those, Paradise or Paradise, and like just stick with it. I'm trying to stick with Paradise because I like it better. But yeah, so I don't have much to say about that. Pixis is like, if nothing else, this is an excuse to talk to a pretty lady because he's perv like that. It's old man perv. Is what it is. It's not as explicit as most animes where they have old man pervs. He's a little more charming and suave than that, I guess. Last episode, there was that one scene where they showed like an image of Pixis, and his head just looked freaking huge. Glad to see it's not huge in this episode. And that's it for the episode for the most part. There's a post-credit scene, and yeah, make sure you saw that before you hear me talk about it, I guess. It's not that big of a deal if you didn't. In the post-credit scene, we see Magath telling the warriors that Zeke has betrayed them and must be working with the island. He came to this conclusion because the only remains of Zeke they could find were his arms and legs, which, that's normally probably enough. Like, you just need a couple of teeth or something to assume a person's dead. But when you're dealing with a Titan shifter, like a lizard person who can just, like, grow shit back, you're gonna need to see, like, I don't know, a head maybe? Anyways, Magath wants to wait 6 months for the World Alliance to attack Paradise together, but the warriors convince him that Zeke wants him to do that, so it's better for them to launch an attack now. Like a secret attack now, and Magath totally buys that, which is sort of surprising to me. I guess he trusts them, but he also trusted Zeke. Personally, if I had one traitor in my like racist brainwashed warrior program, I would probably assume there were a few more at least. And for all Magath knows, they could just like get there in defect. But I guess Colt is there, and I think they saw Falco and Gabi, what they were doing, so like maybe at least they know they want to save them, and Falco and Gabi seem to be on their side. So yeah, I don't know. I think it would be a tougher decision. But anyways, my favorite part of the scene is just seeing the structures the Warhammer Titan created are still there. I never really thought about that, and like when I was reading the manga, that the giant spike that the Warhammer Titan skewered Eren with is just kind of like a permanent structure now in this city, unless Marley has the ability, like some tools, technology to remove it. It's kind of just going to stand there as like a reminder of their defeat and like the destruction that the devil's caused, so it's like a constant reminder to those that live in Liberio. Yeah, sure, that's fine. And that's kind of neat. It's like a monument in itself, maybe. I don't know. And that is about it. I did skip a few things, but they're not that important. Well, okay. Maybe the fact that, what's the Japanese people essentially? Hazuri, something. I can't remember the nation's name. Their leader is talking to Zacharias, whatever the leader of the Paradise military's name is. They're talking to him about watching a test of the rumbling, which I assume is like the small rumbling. I don't know if maybe they just want to release one wall titan, but yeah, I don't know. That's maybe important. Maybe it's not. Who can tell? And they mentioned they brought an ice burst powered airship. And I know, Bill, you were like, Zeke just pulled that. It should be ass burst because they just pulled the ice burst out of their ass. But we've sort of seen this before, sort of. So in the anime and manga, there is the cave where Eren was like tied up or chained up, and Rodriguez wanted Historia to eat him. That is lined with like this blue crystal, which I think is this ice burst stone. I think. But specifically, supposedly, I haven't read it, but supposedly in one of the spin-off mangas, I think it's Before the Fall, they call out the ice burst crystal by name. So maybe this will seem less ass-pulley once you and I have read those, which we plan to do after this, after the anime wraps up. So, yeah. That is all I have for today. So, thanks for listening. If you made it this far, I appreciate it. If you could go leave us a review, we like those. We've had one, and we really liked it, so I assume we'd like other ones, especially 5-star. I mean, if you leave a 1-star, it's cool. Thanks for hating us enough to leave a review. But if you leave a 5-star, that would be awesome. We'd appreciate it. You can also follow us on Twitter at CoordinatePod, I believe. And you can check out our other podcast at probablywork.com. I've got one called Too Young for This Trek, where I watch Star Trek with some friends for the first time in a completely random order. And Bill has one that I don't know the name of it yet. Bill, you'll have to tell them about your video game podcast. I forgot what it's called. Anyways, until next time, don't get eaten.